Nice.
What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer. It is, what day is it? Friday, February 17th today. We're broadcasting live from the Pot TV studios in beautiful Amsterdam, although it is looking a little rainy out there today. I'm with my man Jeff Lundstrom here of Skunk Funk in Saskatoon, Skunk Funk Smokers Emporium.
You betcha.
And also the founder of the Praire Medicinal Harvest Cup.
You betcha.
That's
Second
right.
year coming up.
Second annual this year. And what's the dates for that?
We're looking at September long weekend. I'm not sure exactly what weekend. First weekend in September, I believe. So
Nice. Cool. We're going to talk to Jeff about how the cup went last year, how the store's going, other stuff in the prairies, how it is smoking pot on the prairies. Other stuff on the show today, we have David Malmo-Levine with an artifact. He's also going to talk about his plea to Stephen Colbert for cash for the Regulated Marijuana Like Wine initiative. Got a cool video to play there. And also Kirk Tousaw, lawyer extraordinaire and cannabis activist, will be joining us by telephone to talk about the Cannabis Buyers Club bakery case in Victoria, which he's been slugging it out in the court system for the past couple weeks. And also he'll talk about something that happened just recently. A Canadian judge actually threw out mandatory minimum laws regarding gun crimes in Canada. Now, we're going to have Kirk on to talk about how that might have an effect on drug crimes as well. It may be possible for a judge who thinks that these mandatory minimums are unconstitutional to just throw the drug laws out like they did with this latest gun law. Now, that, of course, will be appealed by the Conservative government, but when it really comes down to it, if the government goes to fight the court system, it looks like the court system could win on this one. So that's a very positive development, and we hope that. Did you hear about that one?
I heard a little bit about it, so it's pretty wild.
It's exciting to know that a judge still has enough power to, even though the mandatory minimums are installed, to say, no, it's unconstitutional, these laws don't work.
At least it means that the judges out there are in a position of power to still be able to make their own choices. Mandatory minimum sentence is a big problem because it starts to take away from the power of a judge to say, well, I disagree with that particular choice or that particular mistake made by whoever was involved.
Yeah.
So, and that should be the right of any judge. That's what they worked for to get to where they are, so that they can
why
make
they're a judge.
a proper decision.
Yeah.
And justice should be served.
Yeah, exactly. No, if you have mandatory minimums, you have no need for a judge, because then if the person does a crime, they go to jail for it.
That's kind of funny that you mentioned that. It reminds me of Back to the Future, where the second one, where they go and they're like, oh, they've abolished all justice, all lawyers. The justice system moves really quick in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know, Harper must have saw that and went, oh, we could really do that.
yeah, definitely. I love Back to the Future Part 2.
For sure.
Always a good movie. Yeah, so we'll talk about that. We'll also have, I guess that's all of the people we're going to have on. But I did want to play you a clip, actually, just to start things off. Now, I haven't even seen this clip myself. This was just handed over to me by Marijuana Man. And this is Jody Emery recently on Global TV, as well as it's a segment about the upcoming bill, I guess. So we're going to find out what this is. I didn't get to see this. Jody, what?
Attorneys General.
Oh, the Attorneys General, right. So this week, of course, something that is big news here in British Columbia, at least, former Attorneys General, 4 of them have now come forward, and as well as the 4 mayors, called for the abolition of prohibition. And they want to, basically, they're going along with Stop the Violence BC, the same group that we've talked about on the show before, with Evan Wood, Dr. Evan Wood at the helm. Now they're supporting, and they've written a letter in support of that group. So they asked Christy Clark, of course, about this, and she said nothing really. She just sort of handed it over to the Conservative federal government and said, I have nothing to do with this. But of course, it's been pointed out, and Jody pointed this out to me, that Christy Clark had no bones about talking about prohibition before she was the Prime Minister, and basically having the opposite opinion as she has now. Now she just likes to be able to say, oh, well, we have nothing to do with it, it's a federal issue, and so I don't have to make a comment on it. But to us, that's not good enough. Let's check this clip out. All right, here it is.
Good evening. Happy Valentine's Day, and thanks for joining us tonight. The growing movement to legalize pot got a big boost today, with 4 former BC Attorneys General, Colin Gableman, Ujjal Dosanjh, Graham Bobrick, and Jeff Plant, sent a letter to Premier Christy Clark and the NDP, saying it's time to legalize marijuana to reduce gang violence, ease the burden on our court system, and help raise tax revenue. Jeff Hastings has more.
marijuana prohibition has failed.
And 4 former BC Attorneys General from both sides of the legislature agree.
This is not a partisan attempt. This is an attempt to actually make sure that the political leadership follows the leadership of the Canadian people.
We're talking about the legalization within a regulatory framework that would control supply and price.
The strict regulation of marijuana has the potential to eliminate the violent illegal marijuana market and to raise untold tax revenue, while at the same time ending wasteful marijuana law enforcement spending that only drains tax dollars.
All it's leading to is gang warfare, more policing resources, more prosecutors, more courts, and more jails.
Along with Dosanjh planter Colin Gableman and Graham Bobrick, joining a coalition of legal, law enforcement, and health officials called Stop the Violence BC.
What we're trying to do here today is to contribute to a growing groundswell of public and I think opinion leader advocacy to eventually cause the government of Canada to recognize that they should lead public opinion instead of following it and should make this change.
It's really exciting to see even more high-profile figures coming on board and saying we need to end prohibition. It's not just a bunch of people who want to smoke pot and get high.
It's not quite 3 months since 4 former Vancouver mayors of different political stripes made the same call. Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson is on board, but
I am going to leave the marijuana debate to the federal government.
Ultimately, this is a decision that has to start with the government of Canada.
As a premier, I respect that former attorneys general have taken this stand, people who are outside of politics, but as a premier, I'm going to leave this to the federal government. And
the Prime Minister's response to the mayors, not quite 3 months ago.
No, it will not happen under our government. We're strongly opposed to the legalization of drugs.
Vancouver police investigators are at the scene of a fatal...
There we are, we're back. So there it was, great little clip from Global. Jody's been in the press a lot lately actually talking about this issue and some of the other stuff that's come up. But yeah, 4 attorneys general, that's great. Add that to 4 former mayors and the current mayor. Gregor himself come out in support of ending prohibition. That's quite the political roster they have there. And somebody said, Stop the Violence is on a roll. They sure are. Big kudos to them. I wanted to have Dr. Evan Wood on the show, and actually we were in negotiation for that, but it's just been so busy. We'll try and have him on the show sometime soon, hopefully. Uh-oh, frozen, it says. Some people are getting frozen. It's moving. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if it's just the screen that's frozen or if it's the voices as well, but it is frozen for me too. But while that freeze works itself out, I'm going to pop down a little bit here. I'm going to load up. And Jeff, might as well just start talking about what's going on in your universe there on the Prairies. Why don't, first of all, you tell me a little bit about your store and your guys' mission there?
Well, the store is, basic cannabis culture. We sell pipes and bongs and all the great stuff that goes with cannabis use. But mainly is for, education and a place to learn truly about cannabis, its history. Maybe you want to learn about education, or you want to learn about the effects. You want to learn about medicinal. Who knows? Lots of people come in for different reasons. The store just sort of sits as a hub for that. It's sort of what got us started in the Prairies doing. It was just a good place to start, right? You got to have a forum to start it. Years it was like that for me.
What year did you start it?
2008, actually. Tomorrow is my 4th year anniversary, official.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
4-year anniversary.
It's nice to be celebrating that in Vancouver, the city where the bud is abundantly beautiful.
Yes, look at this.
And then, so we just continue to work on that. The last 4 years has been spectacular. The Prairie Cup last year was just unbelievable. We had some amazing people get involved that came out. BC Bud Depot was one of our main sponsors. We also had Skunk Magazine involved. They also did a lot of advertising for us. Dr. Paul Hornsby came out and did a little, spiel on the scientific end of things, talking about the research. And those guys are really working hard. They're out on the island. They're continuing research, so they're just working lots medicinal. This year we're trying to follow the same sort of forum, but we're going to change it up a little bit. We're celebrating harvesting. As people know, Saskatchewan is booming right now. We sit on the edge of leading the country with uranium, potash. We have a big industry there. Cannabis movement there is big. Hemp, people are interested in the future of what hemp offers. We'd like to see some of the laws adjust and we allow pure hemp farming, because that's what we do. We're farmers.
Yeah.
So why not give the people who are the best at it the tools to do it? We have this, the University of Saskatchewan is leading in agriculture development and all sorts of stuff. Prairie Plant Systems is 15 minutes away from Saskatoon. They're holding the monopoly for the Health Canada grow.
They're the government growers.
Yeah.
And what they grow, it's really not that nice, though, unfortunately.
Not overly that nice, which is why I have a job.
Yeah, exactly.
So we do lots of stuff. Like I have 2 grow facilities. My second facility just got started. We're hoping to expand it to warehouse type development. There's no dispensaries in Saskatchewan. A lot of people don't even know where we are and what we're doing. It's hard because you're right in the middle of it all. Right? And like we've talked about this before, West Coast, East Coast, and there's a big scene. And politically, where I'm from, you're very conservative. So people are fighting. We used to be an NDP province for 12 years. The Conservative Party changed their name to the Saskatchewan Party. It made it all pretty and convinced people that they weren't the evil that was there a long time ago.
Right.
And now they're back in, and Brad Wall and the people involved in the political element of Saskatchewan are not looking towards the future of the end of prohibition and getting off of people's backs. I watch a lot happen, especially because we have a very corrupt police force that doesn't work in people's favors, works against them more than anything. A lot of rights violations. We don't have things like BC does with the Civil Liberties Committee, where people are organized to keep the people in check and are using the powers like our Charter of Rights and Freedoms to protect themselves against, these true enemies, which are people that are just trying to incarcerate you to make $1.
Right.
And, we struggle. I see that a lot. So we're politically actively involved, trying to just say, we're peaceful people, going to be here, continue to be here, help people with medicine, help people facilitate people with smoke, beautiful bongs and pipes. I have some of the best from the world's best glass blowers, at least Canada's best. And, we just want you to come down and feel comfortable. Come sit and enjoy a vapor bag and learn a little bit and find out how you can get involved, especially in Saskatchewan. Right. So if you want to know how to get involved, you contact me at Skunk Funk. You come down and see me, you call me, you email me.
What's your email address?
skunkfunksmoker@gmail.com. Our website also is skunkfunksmoker.ca. So you can go there and that'll link you to events and stuff.
It's in the show notes too.
For sure. So we appreciate all the support. On a personal level, thank you, because you've been a big part of that and you know that. And, I appreciate everything you've done.
Oh man, I love helping you guys out. And this is actually the first time that you've been on the live show.
The live show, you
That's
bet.
Right. Yeah, we did a video before, but haven't had you on the live show. It just didn't work out before. But
it's excellent.
And I would have loved to have really come out to the Cup last year. I wanted to and was hoping to, but it just didn't work out, right?
Well, that's the way it is, because, like I said, the big cities and everybody's involved. But we do appreciate who does come out. Believe it or not, I had a guy come from Victoria.
Nice.
He was the first guy. He sent his mom down, who lives in Saskatoon, and bought the first ticket of the Saskatchewan Prairie Cup. And big things happen. And Sita from Green Harvest, she was nice enough to throw in a bubble machine, bubbleator, a pulminator that got given away to lucky people from Saskatoon. Went to some really nice people I actually know personally.
Yeah.
So it was just a good event, and it showed that something that happens in the bigger cities can truly happen in Saskatchewan as well, as long as you're willing to make it happen.
Right. So. Cool, man. Well, and I was going to ask you were talking about the cops there and how that works. Have they been problematic? Have you had any antagonism from the cops or anything like that?
Well, I'm going into my 5th year with my DG licenses. Especially just being involved, and they know that I'm involved. Like we do, the local papers know. They come to talk to me about the medicinal stuff, the constitutional court challenges, that thing in Ontario with Matt and stuff.
Right.
Like we had somebody come down and interview me, and we've done stories. Like one of the story headlines was "Still Treated as Criminals," which is a really big part because I went through a stock check. What happened was one of my patients I was growing for at the time, he had a disease called gastroparesis, which is a stomach disorder. nausea, a lot of vomiting, throwing up. Cannabis really helps for that. So
just one second, it's 420. Just wanted to say happy 420 to everybody, and I'll offer you up a bong rip too.
Well,
or maybe while you're telling the story, I'll hit the bong, and then you can hit it afterwards if you'd like to. But yeah, continue your story. Your friend.
It's around Christmas time in Saskatoon, and around Christmas time they really like to do stop checks where I'm from. So they hit that for the drinking and driving. And I mean, I don't drink and drive. I don't even really drink. I prefer to smoke cannabis. And we got involved in a stop check, and of course, as you know, being growers, we grow some of the stickiest, delicious crown on the planet. And you know, it just happened to be smelling a little bit extra in my car. And the officer noticed that immediately, and he said, "Have you been drinking tonight, sir?" And I said, "Well, no, I have not been drinking tonight." He goes, "Well, why does it smell heavy of cannabis marijuana in your vehicle?" I said, "Well, that would simply be because I'm a licensed medicinal grower and I'm on my way to deliver my patient cannabis because he's at home with an attack, a stomach attack, laying on his floor, and called me in an emergency."
Yeah.
Right, and that's legitimately what I was going to do. Yeah. And as soon as those words came out of my mouth, he was on me. He was like, "Who do you grow for? Who regulates how you grow? Where's your grow facility? Your license is fake."
Whoa.
Yeah, you could be just a dealer. Oh man, the license is fake. I'm like, how is that a fake license? The address on it is the address on my driver's license, which is where it says cannabis plants are growing.
Yeah.
Why would I give you that if that was fake? I'd be sinking my own boat. So then he was like, "Oh, how do your patients pay for their weed?" I was like, "Dude," I said, "is this a little past your pay level?" Like,
no kidding.
Then they were like, "You need to pull over here." And I said, "Well, am I under arrest?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, then you have to let me go." Yeah. I said, "I know my rights. I'm not doing anything wrong. I gave you my license." They're like, "We need to see your weed." I said, "You don't need to see my weed." I said, "I'm not showing you anything." I said, "I have a medical license." He's like, "Well, we've never dealt with this before." He's like,
"It's not your fault."
Yeah, he's like, "It's not like we have you down on the ground, handcuffed with guns to your head." I'm like, "Well, pretty much." Like I said,
"I can't leave."
He told me he was detaining me for investigative purposes, which I checked into as bullshit.
Yeah.
You want to do your investigation, do it on your own time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my fee schedule is $1,000 an hour for wasting my time on the side of the road when I'm trying to get my medicine to my head guy.
Yeah.
And just go home.
Well, that poor guy is sitting there waiting at his house.
I'm not wasting your time. So they detained me for about 20 minutes. They actually took my bag of weed that I had with the jars inside. They're like, who drives around with jars of weed? I said, "That's how we medically seal it, is in jars."
Yeah.
He's like, "Why does it stink so bad?" I'm like, "I put weed in and out of that bag every day, all day. Like, come on, man."
Wow.
And they took pictures of the bag and the jars, and they're like, "You have a good night. Somebody from the integrated drug unit will be in touch."
And were they in touch?
They were never in touch.
They were not. They never are.
I had a grow facility got broken into. They weren't even in touch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you reported it to them?
Yeah, we've actually, because there's a small group of us that are involved out there, we've actually tried to approach the police about what they want to do to help us protect what we're doing and help make sure that it doesn't get robbed. Right. You know, that particular facility of mine was closed down and we moved to a safer location. Right. You know, and those are some of the struggles that we're involved with. Of course, that's, you know, some of the stuff that they're talking about and the changes. But I mean, people are ruthless. If there wasn't a prohibition end of it, people profiting off of cannabis, there'd be no reason to come drive your car through a guy's garage door, Dukes of Hazzard style, to steal his pot plants.
Right, of course.
Like, you just go grow your own.
Yeah.
Like, or I'll teach you how to grow something. You know, like, come on, people.
Yeah, no,
we
it's
need
true.
to be more sensible about it. And that's the problem. How can you have this whole side of people that go, we need to do it like this, and it makes sense like this, and everybody knows it does, but this little other group of people that has all the power and the money goes, "Oh, we're going to do it how we want to do it."
That's
you know?
the story of the world, my friend.
Sorry, I'm not sure if we're allowed to curse. So.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, so like they have their own agenda, right? Like, of course we understand, and that's the worst part, is that we've been dumbed down enough to know that if you can't get off prescription pills long enough to not watch your hockey game every weekend, you might actually get up and go and at least vote. I don't know.
Well, and that's the problem is none of the people in our community doesn't vote still.
Only 40%, 45%, and we know that 45% is voting Conservative. If the rest of us all got up our asses and did something about it, we could potentially change the future.
Oh yeah.
And instead of going the way, it's like, okay, we know we're going there, but we're just, that's all. I'm okay with that. Like, have we become that passive as people? Like, we outnumber them severely. Come on, like, just get behind me. I got enough to say so. You know, so if there's one of me, there's got to be 10 of me. There's 10 of me, there's got to be 100 of me.
It would be so powerful if people were just active. If people just did actually go. Like, even just the people that are in the pot community, if they all went out and voted, that would probably be enough to really push things in the right direction.
I can't get 50 people out for a marijuana march.
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
for a rally.
It's
and I live in a town with at least 300,000 people and growing.
Yeah.
And we're involved. Like, we're openly on the radio. We're advertising. We're out there with signs on the boulevard saying we're crons here. We don't care, right? So they haven't come and slapped me yet.
I think the cup is a good way of getting people involved as well. It's kind of a different angle on it. I wanted to ask you about how the cup went last year and also how it works. What is it that you guys are judging? It's a bunch of strains, I'm assuming.
Yeah, strain judging. You know, we try to follow the typical form that I've seen at the other events and stuff that I've been through around Canada. And I thank God for the people that are involved with those and really making it happen, treating yourself. Anything that Dana Larson's done back with Vancouver Ganja Games, and even the Toker's Bowl. I know it was a long time ago, but it was starting to turn into something big. Yeah. You know, so it's people like that out there that help convince me that it's possible for that to occur in Saskatchewan. That says, okay, we could move forward with this.
Right.
So we blew it up for the first year and had real fun with it and no hassles. We had vapors going all day long, and we had edibles, and we had normal Saskatchewan there. Tim Zielinski from Head to Head, a lot of prop to that gentleman. He does a lot of good work, a lot of hard work in Saskatchewan. Cannabis grower, owns a head shop in Regina. Just out there. And so the people that are there are committed. So I found that the people that are there are committed and they're making things happen. And I mean, we're just trying to be part of that. The Prairie Cup's all part of that.
Yeah.
So the first year, I think it went according to as best as planned. I mean, ask anybody who's dove into it head first. It's like, make it happen, and if you build it, they'll come, right? Like if it happens and enough people hear about it, then.
How many strains did you judge?
We had 8 strains. We would have had 10, but the police intercepted.
What?
No bullshit.
Oh, right.
The police we got a phone call, I think. The police intercepted a package. One of the packages that was sent was maybe badly wrapped. And the smell maybe, and we're no bullshit. We're standing in the shop and we're working because this is the last couple of days before the event, and everybody comes through the door we're trying to sell a ticket to.
Right.
And the lady who's standing there, she's got a med license, but the package was about 70 grams more than it should have been.
Oh.
And the police had intercepted that, and it actually come into the shop. Like,
right.
Yeah, my favorite guy is the drug enforcement unit. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
You didn't actually know any of them. They're just.
No. But I take a good mental note of them. You know what they look like. We'll see you later.
They never harassed you before.
They've never really harassed me. I've been a rougher part of town, so I've dealt with a lot of break-ins in my shop. But the cops have actually been fairly good about just, understanding that I am a legitimate business and that we're not trying to, do any ill intentions. We're not there to be malicious. We're there to make a difference.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to push forward with.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. So the cup, it was 8 strains in the end.
8 strains because the cops got the 2, and.
Not a bong rip? I don't know if you're a bit down for it.
I will for sure. I can't keep this joint going, so I'll take a bong rip.
All right, I'll trade you.
The 8 strains, God Bud was one of the winners.
Yeah.
Delicious, absolutely delicious from BC Bud Depot.
Got it later.
I do.
Nice. What are we smoking here?
I believe that is some blue cheese that I got last night.
Oh, thanks, Marius. Marius is in the house, by the way. And I also forgot to mention, before I knew there was another guest. Luis is coming on the show to talk about Spannabis and his trip to Spannabis.
That's spectacular because I met a guy named Carlos in Amsterdam in November who doesn't speak a lick of English, but we hung out with him for 2 days. He's a grower from Spain.
Oh, yeah?
And he showed me some pictures, and I don't know, I'm a grower, so we kind of speak a bit of a universal language.
Right.
My Spanish is pretty bad, except for what I learned off of Dora.
Right.
Because I got a 4-year-old daughter. So yeah, we talked for a couple days. Yeah, he's had some beautiful pictures, invited us to stay at his ranch if we ever came down. He said Spannabis is quite the event. February, you know, it's so close to the Amsterdam Cup and stuff. Lots going on. Right. But I heard it's a great event. We're gonna try. Actually, I'm gonna try and personally make it out there next year. So.
Cool. That'd be nice.
Amsterdam is wild.
Oh yeah. So you were. I was gonna ask you about that as well because I wanted to ask you about two things.
Okay.
First of all, was the name Cannabis Cup. There seemed to be some bumps in the road about that.
A little bit.
What happened with that? Can you tell us about that?
Well, not to touch on it too much because I already made High Times cry. The lovely people at High Times, they want to, you know, they have the Cannabis Cup, and of course it's in Amsterdam, and it's unbelievable. It was my first time this year, and I was very thankful to be there. You know, even though. So we had our first annual Praire Medicinal Cannabis Cup, is actually what the first year was called. Anybody who saw the advertising knows from last year.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of phone calls and letters saying that they didn't appreciate me using their name. And, you know, Marco from Treating Yourself had also kind of told me the same thing because he had that same road bump when he was looking for the Treating Yourself Hemp Expo name. And fair enough, the first year, and we went with it because I'd already printed like these postcards. I'd already printed like 5,000 of these things already to pump and advertise, and that's not cheap.
No.
So I was just like, well, we're not changing it now to please High Times.
Yeah.
And since they're, you know, in the United States, they don't hold any copyright that's in Canada for the word Cannabis Cup, and that's why there wasn't anything except some idle threats on the phone. And, you know, they weren't harsh to me or anything, and I just kind of avoided them, and in the end, they never called again. So that prompted this year's change of the name, but we were okay with that because we truly believe that Saskatchewan is a place where harvesting and growing agriculture and growing things happen, cannabis or otherwise.
Yeah.
Hemp, flax, mustard, you know, barley, making those hops. You know? Right. So, you know, those guys and farmers are working hard. So we're a place that harvests things. So we want to celebrate that more than we do. The cannabis is just a gift that's just given to all of us. So as much as a celebration of that, it's just a celebration of who we are as Saskatchewan people. And I think we're really proud of that. I mean, look at our football team color is green. I mean, they don't play the best, maybe because they hit too many, but I'm okay with that. You know, we're really proud people from Saskatchewan, and I've worked the last 5 years of my medicinal growing career to make sure that the people that I grow for are truly taken care of. And that's the big thing. Like, I see these changes coming that everybody's talking about, and the federal government is making decisions, and the Health Canada is going to change the MMAR program. I'm not sure where that stands for me as a grower. You know, it makes me wonder if I'm going to be able to continue to help the people that I do truly help. Because if you ask the guys I grow for right now, if you looked at them today and said, if Jeff wasn't here tomorrow and he couldn't grow your weed, what would that do for you?
Yeah, where would they go?
The one guy would probably cry because he's got degenerative arthritis. He's in so much pain, and he smokes cannabis to relieve that. I've been growing for him for 3 years. If I wasn't there, what would he do?
Why no dispensaries? Has anybody tried to set one up?
Nobody's tried, and it's tough because we are, like we said, in a conservative city. Supply's been a big problem. If I had enough supply, and this is a call out to the medical community, if you see this and hear this, call me and tell me you want to help. Tell me you got some medical cannabis to send my way to supply to people, because that's the biggest problem. Out here, they have a network, and the dispensaries have growers that are allowed to be able to, here you are, that you're available to have this. And you just walk in and purchase it. That's beautiful. I know you guys come in, they're like, here's my license, what can you do? And I'm standing there going, send you down the block to a guy who might be able to help you out. Like,
Right.
you know, like it's just,
No.
it's the toughest place. How can Saskatchewan be leading in everything, including prairie plant systems? Like I said, they're there.
Right.
They're growing the mecca, but Saskatoon and Saskatchewan in general is one of the hardest places to obtain your MMAR card license, a doctor's signature. You get denied more times than you ever will have somebody sign you up.
Do you think it's because of the mentality? Maybe there's more of a conservative mentality about some of these things?
I think it comes back to the same story as the pharmaceutical industry. I always say, if I had enough money to throw at a doctor that a pharmacy company does, I'd have a guy in the back of my store signing paperwork tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I can't send him on trips and furnish this whole office out of school. And, you know, we got the university there, not that I haven't been trying. That's a shout out to all the fourth-year lawyers and doctors. Call me or email me.
Well, hey, man, and you might find somebody that way.
I think we have no choice.
Well, I'm glad you guys are there doing that and taking the reins. Are there other head shops?
There are. The other head shops are there, believe it or not, are franchise stores. There's 5 shops in total in Saskatoon.
Oh, wow.
2 of us are the first place is Vinyl Exchange. They've been there for years. And they went through like the hard times, like back in the early 90s where they went through that operation, paraphernalia seize and all that.
Yeah.
So they went through a couple of raids. Like, they're old school. The manager down there is a great guy. They're really doing great stuff. And so they're the first one, and then a franchise store. Bob Headquarters is there. Jupiter, a new store called The Joint, which is a franchise store from Winnipeg, and of course Skunk Funk, the best head shop on the Prairies. At least the one with enough guts to say we're here and we're smokers. So, you know, like, you can't walk into any other store in Saskatoon and engage them in conversation about cannabis.
Do you smoke in your store?
I smoke medicinal in our store. We don't smoke combustibles. You're welcome to go outside for sure, but we got the vape running full time down at Skunk Funk, and we invite anybody to come down. And you know, even if you're a recreational smoker, and I've said this for a long time, the cannabis plant has such medicinal properties. Even if you were recreationally smoking, you're smoking medicinal too, because you're still getting the medicinal properties of the plant into your life, right? You just don't view it like that yet, maybe, or maybe you haven't had enough aches and pains in your back to really know how beneficial it is.
All uses medicinal.
Yeah, for sure, in my opinion.
Talk to David Malmo-Levine, who just stepped into the room about
I'm in his house.
David has a few theories on that particular topic.
I do. Some projects going on. Hey, I got a joke for you.
What's the joke?
Why does Snoop Doggy Dogg need an umbrella?
I don't know, David. Why?
For drizzle.
Of course.
Only in Vancouver, though, right?
That's when he visits Amsterdam. So, David, you're going to come on and show us some sort of artifact.
I got some cool artifacts here.
Cool. And Neil Magnuson, activist Neil Magnuson, just stepped into the house here as well.
Hey.
What's going on, Neil? How are you?
Got my license legal.
Oh, you really did?
Yeah,
yes,
man.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Well, I always figured you were legal before the license, brother.
It's illegal to make me not legal.
Yeah.
Harder to bust.
The commence man gave me papers anyway.
There you go. But no plastic card. They've eliminated the plastic cards, I guess. Yeah, crazy. All right. Well, what time is it? 4:38. Now I have Kirk Tousaw waiting on the line here as well. So maybe we should. David, can you stick around for a little bit? Do you care? Do you want to go first? We also have, and I didn't mention Luis either. He needs to come up. So, but he can come up later. He doesn't mind waiting. Do you? No. Okay.
Kirk is busier than me.
Okay. Let's call Kirk first. So Kirk Tousaw.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna give Kirk a call here. And Kirk's going to tell us about a couple different things. He's working on a case in Victoria, British Columbia right now about a bakery, the Cannabis Buyers Club Bakery. Mr. Tousaw. You there, Kirk? Oh, you broke up there for a second, but hopefully we got you on a solid line. Kirk, how you doing? Oh, not bad at all. Just doing the show here and wondering about your case in Victoria. How's everything going there?
Well, I think it's going quite well. We had about 15 days of testimony from a variety of patient witnesses, scientists, a couple of representatives of Health Canada, and Ted Smith. I think the evidence went in favorably to my client opposition on the charter challenge and on the applications for judicial stay of the proceedings. Then we're back in court starting the 27th of February for 4 days of oral argument on that evidence. And I hope to be able to convince the judge that the distinction between allowing people to possess dried marijuana but not allowing them to take that dried marijuana and turn it into cookies or oils or creams or things of that nature is arbitrary, violates Section 7 of the Charter, and should be stricken from the rules.
Right, and so there was, you guys had a break there for a little while, but now you're back. And how long does this go for, Kirk? How much is left?
We've got 4 days of oral argument starting on the 27th of February. And then the judge has however long the judge requires to consider the argument and the evidence and reach a decision.
Right, and so how do you think it's going? Can you tell us anything more about the case or give us any sort of any insight into how it's actually going there in the courtroom?
Yeah, I think it went in quite well. We had people testify to their use of and need for the products of my client, the Buyers Club of Canada. We had testimony from Ted and Gail of the club about the procedure, of the way it services people in the community and the benefits that the members enjoy. Dr. David Pate testified at some length to the benefits that can be derived from using cannabis-based medicines in a format other than smoking. And Health Canada's witnesses, I thought, were I thought I was able to successfully cross-examine them in a manner that should, assuming the judge sees things as I do, that should allow us to have an opportunity to win the case. It seemed to me that the focus of Health Canada's case was more on issues around quality control and uncertainty of, baking processes, how much of a standardized dose is available in the cookies, things of that nature that I think, quite frankly, aren't really relevant to the principal issue in the case, which is the arbitrariness of the government's restrictive MMAR scheme. Interestingly, Jeremiah, nobody actually testified in this case as a representative of the medical marijuana program in this country. They had a scientist come in and testify to science. They had a regulatory official come in and testify to the process by which you take a sort of pharmaceutical drug to market and the reasons that process exists. But nobody from Medical Marijuana Access Division took the stand to talk about the sort of workings of the program.
Wow. And I guess Health Canada is trying to just stay out of all of this kind of stuff these days. Kirk, if you are successful in this case, what does that really mean? How does that affect things? Or there's a lot at stake in this case, isn't there?
I think there is. It would be dependent on what the judge's view of a successful and appropriate remedy, just an appropriate remedy pursuant to the charter is. Portions of the scheme that the judge believes to be arbitrary and contrary to Section 7 of the charter. So there's a possibility, for example, that Justice Johnson could order the definition of marijuana in the MMAR to be broadened or stricken to really include resins and other cannabis-based medicines that currently don't fall under the definition of dried marijuana. That's a possibility. That the justice may well simply say, look, it's not my job, or at least in this case, I don't feel it appropriate to comment on the inner workings of the scheme. I could just say that it's arbitrary and government has to fix it. Who knows, really? Certainly I'm optimistic that we're going to get some kind of positive outcome.
That'd be fantastic. Now, Kirk, well, that's really great. I was going to ask you about something else, and I just forgot. Oh, it's actually C10 and how that might affect kind of the same thing that you're working on with this particular case. In C10, if people use extracts, there's increased sentences, like 18 months to start with, isn't it? Mandatory? Sorry, Kirk, you broke up there for a second. Can you say?
Yeah, no, it's been a while since I looked at the specific terms of C10, but certainly certainly under the current Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, there's a differentiation between dried marijuana and resin. There's differential punishments applied, and certainly in the new scheme, I believe that resin.
Oh, Kirk, you broke up there again. I'm sorry, brother.
Sorry, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, say that last part again. In the new scheme.
Yeah, in the new scheme, it's, not having it in front of me, I wouldn't want to be specific, but my recollection is at least that resin is treated more.
Of course, it blanks out again when you say the goods. Yeah, I think, as far as I remember, it was that if you do extracts, if you're extracting, it's 18 months as a mandatory for hash or other things for baked goods. So as a mandatory, that seems like a lot, but
unless you're watermelon.
Unless you're watermelon, David says. Cool, Kirk. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, Kirk, I don't know if you're comfortable in discussing this I don't know if you've had a chance to actually read the judge's ruling in this particular case about the mandatory gun laws being thrown out.
Yeah, I haven't read the specifics of the decision. I've read some of the commentary surrounding it, so I don't want to comment on the specifics of what was determined, but I will say one of the most interesting facets to me is that because this is a criminal code prosecution, it is conducted by the provincial attorney general, not the federal crown, and therefore it will be up to the province of Ontario whether to appeal or not the federal government. And I think that's interesting because I think the province of Ontario has an opportunity to send a message on mandatory sentencing to the federal government by not appealing.
Right, and who is the person that actually makes that decision?
Well, it's the Attorney General of Ontario, as far as I understand it.
Right, the Attorney General. Okay,
so for BC.
Right. Oh yeah, and there's the Attorneys General in British Columbia as well, Kirk, who have come out now, as well as the 4 former mayors. Any comment on them coming out? What do you think about that? That's pretty awesome.
It's a positive development. My main comment would be I wish that when we hear about all these former politicians condemning the war on marijuana and people who consume marijuana, I wish we could remove the word former from that sentence, because that's really what's needed. I mean, these folks need to have the courage to take this stand, and it's the right stand when they're in office, and that hopefully is the next step.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and thanks to Gregor for coming out and joining that same chorus of voices. But yeah, he's one of the only ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thanks a lot, Kirk. I appreciate you coming on. We'll have you back on again soon. Good luck with the case. I'm glad to hear it's going well, and we'll definitely talk to you again soon about it.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and folks that are in Victoria, come on down on the 27th to the courthouse and have a look at what's going on.
Excellent. Awesome, Kirk. Thanks a lot. We'll talk soon.
That's crazy. A couple of things just blow my mind about that. The first foremost is that nobody from Health Canada showed up for that thing. Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
If that doesn't say we don't give a fuck, like, we'll see you next week, like, good luck. That doesn't even got a lot of hope, but holy, that and Ted Smith, what an awesome guy. I think he stuck his neck out how many times just to make sure that things are changing.
Yeah.
And, he's done a wonderful thing, and, with them, and I'm sure that they're going to come out victorious with all this. And, some of that is just unbelievable,
Yeah,
the Health Canada thing's crazy.
Well, it is crazy, and it's all of these cases, and Kirk's been behind a lot of them. They're big cases, and the implications from them are pretty wide. Of course, we had the Murnau case earlier, Paul Lewin and Matt Murnau.
Right.
And that case, of course, has some big implications for Health Canada's medical marijuana program as well.
Huge.
So, of course, that's in Ontario. If we can keep knocking them down and by province, obviously they're trying to redesign the medical marijuana system in Canada right now. They had the proposed improvements.
Improvements, to a system that doesn't work already. So how do you fix something that's completely fucked up?
Right.
You got to tear that process down and start over.
They didn't fix it at all. In fact, they're making it worse because they haven't addressed the real problem, the one that was addressed by the judge in the Renault case, which is that doctors themselves are the gatekeepers.
Reasonable access.
Causing the problem. Yeah. They've effectively boycotted this current system.
For sure they have, because the dollar, the pharmaceutical company, it's easier to fill
well, that's really
and the struggle with that, like, I mean, that goes down to just, even in Saskatchewan, like I said, it's a bit different here with the dispensaries, but in Saskatoon, you get say a morphine or some sort of opiate prescription, you can go to a pharmacy right next door to the doctor's office, and that's filled in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You want to get a medicinal marijuana license, you got to find a grower if you can't grow for yourself, and then those plants don't produce in 20 minutes.
No.
It takes, 4 months for some.
Longer for some prairie plant systems.
Yeah, which, I don't know, the lawn clippings that get you stoned better.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan ditchweed, we call that. They grow it somewhere between Saskatoon and PA, harvested every year.
Speaking of which, I got the packaging.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Is
David,
that one of the originals?
Do you want to come on now, David?
Yeah. Can I just segue in there?
Yeah, let's have you on here. Yeah, we'll have you back on for sure.
Yeah, speaking of Smelf Canada's prairie plant bunkweed.
Yeah.
Mine swag, they call it. This is the packaging that Health Canada uses to send off its, quote, marijuana, unquote. It's the only medicine on earth that comes with its own return form. Now, what the museum is missing is one of those return forms, either an original, or we'll settle for a scanned copy or a photocopy or anything.
I get you an original, David.
Yeah, the return form?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you I did for yesterday.
Well, yeah,
I'll fax it when I
would
get home.
love to put that in the museum, because really, that is a unique distinction in the world of medicine. We have such little confidence in our product that we know pretty much that the odds are you're going to hate it. Here's the return form along with the medicine,
Right.
They don't do that with aspirin.
Maybe they should. And what is the big...
This is a tin from the U.S. 1970s medical marijuana research project, where they sent off to 11 different people 300 cigarettes per can, and it's currently empty, but there is some residue, there's some stems in there, you can see.
Yes.
This is Mississippi swag. This is the U.S. shitty government marijuana. It seems as though there's a pattern forming here, that if you're a government and you provide marijuana, it is of low quality. It's like the government purposely doesn't want to provide the dank.
Or maybe they just don't know how.
I think they know how.
They could pick up Jorge Cervantes.
They put a person on the moon. Yeah, if they wanted to hire someone who knew how to grow, they'd hire that. But I think they just want to provide the most ickiest marijuana possible, so people will be like, this medicine? How could that be? It's bleh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's lots of pictures of them growing on the Mississippi government pot farm, but there's no pictures of buds on that farm. They got lots of leaf, they got lots of tall, spindly plants. They never seem to get any bud there on the farm.
They sure spend a lot of money growing that shitty weed, too.
Yeah.
And this is Irv Rosenfeld.
This is Irv Rosenfeld. He wrote a book called My Medicine. He has a website.
There's crumbs of weed in there still.
www.mymedicinethebook.com. He's written lots of. He's been an activist since the 70s.
Yeah.
There's only 4.
I've met him. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He was at the Train Yourself Expo.
That's right. And that's where I got the tin.
He had a booth right next to us, actually. I interviewed him.
And yeah, he sells the tins in order to make money for his activism. So if you go to www.mymedicinethebook.com, there's probably contact information for him. You can get one of these tins for your own hemp or herb museum that you may be working on.
I wonder how many tins he has now.
Well, you get 300. I think it's per month. 300 cigarettes. It was one tin a month.
They're rolled?
Yeah, pre-rolled.
Pre-rolled cigarettes.
Yeah, from the U.S. government.
Pre-rolled joints.
Yeah.
And that's great, actually. I went to see it.
Use 10 cigarettes daily, so that's 1 month's worth. Wow. Yeah. So he gets a tin like this every month from the U.S. government. 4 people left on Earth. There was originally 11, and that is U.S. government marijuana. Now, I also wanted to just jump in and give my 2 cents on whether all use is medical marijuana use, because that's an interesting concept.
Yes.
If you try to see it from this perspective, what is the difference between recreational use and preventive herbal marijuana medicine use? Like recreation, we just associate with people who are healthy. And preventive medicine is the art of keeping a healthy person healthy. And if you look at any definition of medicine online or in a dictionary, it always mentions prevention or preventive medicine or preventative medicine as one of the core concepts of medicine. Now, herbal medicine has been around a lot longer than any other kind of medicine. It's the most popular form of medicine on earth. So if preventive herbal medicine isn't medicine, then nothing is medicine, because it is the most fundamental form of medicine.
I can't argue with you.
Yeah, so, and this is really interesting too, if you Google up the word recreation, in the World Wide Webster Dictionary definition, it says right there, to restore to health, as the origin of the word recreation. So even recreation is a health-defined term. It's one of the R's in R&R.
That's right.
Recreation and relaxation, or rest and recreation. It's a military term for allowing your body to recuperate. And so laughter is the best medicine of all. So if everyone isn't using this medicine medicinally, they're fooling themselves into thinking that somehow there's something.
Right, talk about the medical benefits of cannabis.
Medical benefits of cannabis? How much time do we got?
Quickly, the
there's
most important ones.
Well, the most common ones are the ones that healthy people use it for. So that would be stress, depression, fatigue, loss of appetite, lack of sleep, lack of motivation, lack of focus. These are what healthy people use cannabis medicinally for. And, you know, I like Dennis Perone, who is also a great proponent of the all uses medicinal use argument. He says, a broken heart don't appear on no x-ray. He says it sort of like that. And I think that's very important too, is that you don't have some sort of indication or evidence that you're slightly depressed. I mean, if you're suicidal, that's one thing, but if you're slightly depressed, why shouldn't you be able to use a medicine to help alleviate that slight depression? Why isn't that medicinal? Why is it only medicine if it's handed to you by a guy in a lab coat? Why can't fun be medicine? Why can't medicine be fun? Why can't medicine be smoke? What's wrong with smoke? We all associate smoke with tobacco smoke, but there's other kinds of smoke. Sometimes smoke is good for you. If you use Mullen or Kinnikinnick, it's a lung-cleaning smoke. If you use Damiana, it's an aphrodisiac smoke. And the only smoke that's really associated with lung cancer isn't tobacco smoke. It's radioactive corporate tobacco smoke, which has been grown in radioactive fertilizers for the last 100 years.
Doesn't give you the same problem.
Natural tobacco, there's no evidence really of there being a lot of lung or esophagus or throat cancer back 100 years ago. The radioactive chemical fertilizers were invented around the 1850s and became popular in the 1870s, and around the turn of the century, 1900s, replaced organic fertilizers as a fundamental form of fertilization.
Right.
And then in the 1920s, you start to see the spike in lung cancer rates. It went like this.
Why do they have to make it radioactive?
Well, they don't have to make it radioactive. What it is that when you're trying to get the phosphate or the phosphorus portion of the fertilizer, in chemical fertilizers, the cheapest source of that is from some mines in Florida owned by Cargill, I think. They once were owned by Cargill. Anyway, they just so happen to have a lot of polonium-210, lead-210, and radium, along with the phosphate that you're looking for. So they just go, okay, well, it's a cheap form of fertilizer. We can make tons of money. It's 5 times cheaper to get your phosphate from that form of fertilizer than organic fertilizer.
That's why.
So they're cutting corners. Yeah, it's money, and it's not just tobacco. It's all foods that aren't organic are grown in this radioactive fertilizer that kills the soil, kills the microbes and worms in the soil, renders the soil useless without all this synthetic input. So we're making ourselves artificially dependent on synthetic radioactive chemical fertilizers. That's bad. But anyway, not all smoke is bad. It depends on what it's grown in and how you use it. Native North American Indians have kinnikin, which is smoking mixture. And if you have put a little mullein and coltsfoot in there to clean your lungs out, a little damiana to spice up your love life, and then some marijuana and a little bit of tobacco, you're probably not going to be doing your lungs. And if everything's organic, then you probably won't be doing your lungs the same damage as those chain smoke cigarettes that's made by Marlboro.
That's right. Yeah, I actually have a book called Tobacco Culture that was given to me by Mark Emery. And it's an interesting thing. It was written by the guy who started Natural, or Native?
American Spirit.
American Spirits
Yes.
Tobacco Company with that guy. And then it was eventually, I guess, Philip Morris bought it or somebody took over. Yeah.
If you want to see the research on this that I've gathered, it's in the forums at cannabisculture.com in the counterspin forum under radioactive tobacco, radioactive fertilizer, cannabis and cancer. Check all those links or those discussions out in that forum, and you can learn what I know about it.
David, I want to talk to you about something else. We're going to play a video first, and then on the other side, we'll talk about what you are doing here.
That video.
Right. Yes. All right. I don't want to cut it off. Is it really delayed, Marius?
We are experiencing. Hello, my name is David Malmo-Levine. I live up in Vancouver, Canada, and I heard, Stephen Colbert, that you had $1 million worth of super PAC money that you were looking for a way to spend in some sort of political / funny way, and I made this video to encourage you to spend it on the Regulate Marijuana Like Wine Act of 2012 in California. It'll legalize cannabis and regulate it like wine. I think it would go along with your character to promote something that conservatives like Milton Friedman and William F. Buckley Jr. Have promoted, the legalization of marijuana. Plus, it would send your ratings through the roof. Us up in Canada would like to see it legal down in California, so that that model will spread to the rest of the world, and you guys will stop extraditing people like Mark Emery, seed seller, cannabis seed seller. So that's what we want you to do with the money. Instead of spending it on a bunch of dopes this year, spend $1 million on herb. All right, Stephen? Thanks a lot, man, and keep your head held high at all times.
Sure. Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll respond to that. I know that Stephen is having some problems in his family right now or something.
That's right. He had to go off, cancel the last 2 shows he did this week because his mother is sick or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, I heard that too.
Harshness.
Harshness.
We wish the best for you, Stephen Colbert, man who stood up to Bush and made fun of him for 40 minutes at the Washington press
conference. That's one of the
conference,
greatest clips ever.
Convention.
If you guys haven't seen that one, look that up. Stephen Colbert at it was the press.
Just type in Stephen Colbert Bush,
yeah,
and
Bush
then
Rose.
press and into Google video, and there's like a million
and
versions of it
the
online.
entire American press was sitting around just gasping.
There's even a clip of Laura Bush after he's done his, like, totally ripping the Bush government to pieces in a,
right
after it's just as he's passing her microphone's still on. She's like, asshole.
What?
Yeah, or fuck you, asshole, or something like that.
Wow.
Your mic was still on, yeah. But yeah, no, I love that guy for that, if nothing else, and he's done so much other things. I watch the Daily Show and the Colbert Report pretty much religiously.
John, of course, is great.
Yes, they're both great. So back to the Regulate Marijuana Like Wine Act of 2012. We're missing a billionaire. We got the support of the cannabis community. We have so many endorsements. We have a really well-written initiative. It's anti-monopolistic, which I think was the main problem with Prop 19 last time. We don't throw anyone under the bus. There's no new criminal charges. And it protects medical marijuana, and it will allow anybody who wants to grow and deal to grow and deal. For example, I like to use this example. There's currently 41 legal places to buy pot in Los Angeles. It'll bump that up to over 11,000. So that would be like a good thing if people want to be a part of the green rush that'll happen after legalization. Support and vote for the Regulate Marijuana Like Wine Act of 2012. Now we just need $1.5 million, $1.5 million to get the signatures so it's on the ballot, and we're missing that rich person. So if you're a rich person, if you happen to have, say, $2 million, and you wanted to go down in history as the person who was the key person that made it all happen, I think you could spend that $1.5 million, and you would just people would take you out to dinner for the rest of your life. You wouldn't have to worry, and you'd still have $500,000, which is more than money than I'll ever see in my lifetime, and you could live off that. But if you happen to have like $1 billion, man, you probably have 1.5 million in your sock drawer. Like it's probably, you know, accumulated in one of your wallets.
You think the owners of some of the dispensaries and other groups would really come out in favor of it because it would allow them to expand into all kinds of other
There are lots who are in favor of it, but they have their own legal bills that they're paying for.
Right.
And there's no big fish like Richard Lee around who can shovel down for it. Yeah, he would have done well to consult with the community he was representing in order to make something that people could get behind, I think. But that's just me.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what caused Prop 19 to fail?
There's a lot of speculation.
There's a lot of speculation. Cool. Well, awesome, David. Yeah, so the Colbert thing's funny. Hopefully we'll get a response.
Yeah, send that Colbert link that is currently on the Pot TV YouTube account.
Yep.
Grab that.
Show notes.
It's in the show notes. Yeah, there'll be a link to it. Take that link, cut it, paste it, and put it in an email to one of the Colbert contact emails, and just let them know that this would be a great idea and you're totally behind it. And that's how he should spend his $1 million that he gathered. I think that would be hilarious. And it would strike fear into the hearts of politicians when they realize how powerful comedians have actually become. They can change the course of history. Go Stephen Colbert, and again, I hope your mother is feeling better, because that would suck. Anyway, I gotta run.
David, thank you.
Luego, amigo.
I'm choking over here. I haven't had a bong rip for a while.
Oh, see, marijuana deficiency syndrome. It's
right.
It's deadly.
Rosenthal writes about it all the time.
It could strike at any time. Please.
Feeling deficient.
Be prepared.
All right. So we also want to have Luis on to talk about the Spanibus event happening here. What's up, Marius? Oh, all right. Oh yeah, this thing. We have to. That should be turned off. Our screensaver issue.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Gee, why not?
Can you do that?
I think there's a way. If we don't have a keyboard for that thing, but. So how you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's it going?
It's going well. Now you haven't been on the show. Or were you on Marius's show?
Yeah, that's right.
Came on when I was gone to talk about it a little bit. So give us the update on what's happening. First of all, maybe tell people what Spanibus is.
Well, through the European world, there's many hemp gatherings, and Spanibus has placed itself among the two main ones, which is itself and Expo Madrid. It's a place where you would find a lot of new pieces of grow equipment. You will find new seed companies. Feminized seeds seem to be the one thing around. There's big names like Greenhouse Seeds and Sensi Seeds around. There's Treating Yourself. It's out there too. So
right.
Bond companies and all the cannabis culture in one place. Over the course of 3 days, and I'm expecting around 20,000 people or so.
It's a big event.
Yeah,
it's huge.
It is pretty big, and is gathering people from all over the world. There's expositors from India and Canada, and Spain itself has most of the whole stands, but there's people from all over the world.
Very cool. And so you're going to be covering it for Cannabis Culture a little bit, aren't you? What do you plan on doing while you're there? What are you looking for, and what are you checking out?
Well, I think I want to see why this craze of feminized seeds and how some companies have sprouted in Spain. There is the cannabis smokers clubs where people is gathering together to grow their own cannabis legally, and this is just recreational people. And out of those places, a few seed companies have sprouted. Some medical, some just call itself feminized seed. So there is that. There is the beginning of medical marijuana being involved in events like this. The second year they have a roundtable, so they're gonna have more talks about the research of cannabis, and I want to see. I think MAPS is also there, so I want to see what the scientific development in Europe is been, because I think they have had more time to test stuff. They've been open to it for more years than this side of the world, so I'm sure there'll be something interesting about that. I would like to record some interviews and write some articles. I can do that in Spanish too, so hoping to spend my time wisely out there.
It should be fun. How many days are you going to be staying there?
Well, it happens over the course of the weekend, so I'll be there 24th, 25th, and 26th, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. And you got like a little hotel room or something, or where do you have a place to stay?
Yeah, I'm staying in the middle of Barcelona. I choose to stay a little right into the city because I'm spending a couple days after there, and I want to take the experience of taking the SkyTrain, the subway. Maybe try to spark up somewhere, see what people's reactions to things are.
What's the problem, Marius? Marius is making funny
Somebody's
faces.
remotely controlling that computer, and I wonder if it's Greg. Or
Somebody's remotely controlling this computer?
Yeah, it's just,
a ghost?
Quite possibly.
Sorry to interrupt you, man. Let's see
Right.
here. Remotely
It's not
controlling
now,
it?
but-
That's interesting. Maybe it was me back here secretly doing it with my third arm that you can't see here.
No, it was more than that.
Oh man, okay. Anyways.
That's how much we smoke back here.
Somebody's tripping out. Give that guy a bong rip. You want a bong rip?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, with the joint?
Yeah.
Maybe Marius does.
Marius not happy.
Neil wants one. Oh, Neil, yeah, it's already loaded for you, brother.
You're the one who wanted one.
Oh, well, you should have. Well, I'll have one. I have lots of bong rips.
You get that a lot of cannabis.
That's right. Bring it here. And anybody else who wants one, feel free. Anybody else? Melly? Mel's here, the girl who gave me this bomb. She's standing right there. She should come and take one. We don't often have girls on the show, actually, so it's kind of like, shit. Every chance we get. Here's Melly. What's going on with you, Mel?
Not much, just got my tattoo fixed.
Oh, you got your tattoo fixed. Here, wait, I have to load your bar. Yeah, it was getting worn down a little bit.
Yeah, now he's all fixed.
The camera's over here, Mel.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Camera's right there.
The camera's over here, so show them.
Mustache.
Yeah, you should, show them. You want a bar, don't you?
Sure.
So, Mel, can you tell anybody about what's going on with you?
Me, I'm just going down to the States and hanging out with some glass blowers and then watching the amazing glass blowing be done.
Yeah, your newfound love of glass blowing. You've sort of been paying a lot of attention. Well, you've liked it for a long time because you were always you were the bomb slut. That was your old name. Mel Hempseed. Yeah.
Back in the day.
And you used to work for Cannabis Culture here at Cannabis Culture headquarters. You were actually the manager of the Vapor Lounge at one time.
Yeah, and I ran 420 Convenience.
And oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, and 420 Convenience.
And I come to a lot of the events, and I work for Cannabis Culture at the events.
That's right. And here's a bong rip for you.
Thank you.
It's kind of not really busted up enough, but you can hit this thing hard. You know what you're doing. A lighter?
Ooh.
And Mel gave me this bong when she left originally for Toronto after she moved away from here, because she didn't really want to bring it with her or send it in the mail. And I gladly accepted and gave it a good home. And it's really the star of the show, actually.
Yeah.
That's the only reason people tune in, just to see her. They don't want to look at me. All right, here. Awesome. There you go, Nelly. Thank you for Princess. All right. Well,
thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to getting back some news from.
Yeah, we want to keep definitely tabs on what you're doing there, man. So I don't know how we'll do it. We'll have to have you uploading your videos as soon as possible, or just like get some content from you and see how it's going on the ground there. It'll be cool, interesting to see for sure. Cannabis, it's a big event.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a correspondent.
Well, thanks for having me, and we'll see you soon.
For sure, yeah, and good travels. I hope that I know that you're hoping that everything's going to work out. You're just still dealing with some paperwork. Got the fingers crossed. It'll all work out. It'll work out.
Cannabis. Everybody should go to Spain.
Yeah, yeah.
World travel. It's fun.
The laws are changing there. I guess Amsterdam is sort of reverting, while other places are moving forward.
Like I said, I was at the first cup ever got rated. 24 years.
We didn't talk about that.
No, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually there, so I was there, but I wasn't at when the cup got rated. But they hosted it at a new spot in Amsterdam, an event center called Borgsland. And we actually, it was quite a commute, but there was a free bus from downtown. And it accommodated, like, it was more like wheelchair friendly, so they were trying to push towards, like being allowed more medicinal type people through the door and stuff. But we met some cats in the coffee shop after we heard that the cup got raided. We weren't there. We were in the coffee shop. We were in the coffee shop crawl.
Right.
Anybody who's been to Amsterdam, been a judge of the cup, there's 30 coffee shops to go to in a 4-day span, which is about 6 a day plus samples. And some of those are.
Wow.
Some of those
That's a lot of hard work.
Oh, tons of hard work.
And you guys did it all, didn't you?
We did all 30 coffee shops. I had a definite big favor was Critical 47. It was greenhouse grown from Spain, actually, believe it or not. So I believe that some of the best chronic is coming from Spain. It was a sativa, which is some of my personal favorite, and it was a really nice high, and it was from a coffee shop called Any Day. And some of the coffee shops are really nice. They're just beautiful places. The people were really friendly. Other than the cup being graded, like it was really. It was like being in a dream, because I'd always wanted to go ever since I first started smoking. When you're first chronic, you're like, Cannabis Cup is the longest running thing of history, right? To me, that was like a big deal. So it was funny being there and seeing the first year get rated 24 years and get the first.
Yeah, that's crazy.
First for everything.
Yeah, Dana Larson actually was reporting on it for Cannabis Culture, and Brittany sent us a video of the cops actually. Yeah. Well, they went over the loudspeakers and told people to,
They never arrested anybody.
No.
I had an American guy who stuffed.
People gave up their stuff though.
But he was from the States and he stuffed stuff in and got caught by them. And they asked him, why did you hide your stuff? That was odd to the Dutch police.
Really?
And they said, we're from the States.
Yeah.
You see the cops coming, you put that shit anywhere, right? Because it's your ass. And then we met some guys in a coffee shop that were from the States. They were like, if we wanted to get busted, we could have just stayed at home. We didn't have to pay this kind of money to come here. So some people that were upset, and I felt sorry for those guys. I gave them a couple free grams of hash, and they were really thankful. But I mean, that's what the community's all about. You hear something sad like that occurring. I mean, even in a place where you're supposed to believe that they've accepted that 5 grams of cannabis is supposed to be legal to carry and possess and enjoy. So a place where that is true is still a police presence, and that they're going to make sure that they're felt and we're here,
Yeah.
So it's like I said, we got to make sure that we use the powers, especially in Canada, to keep the people that work for us, that we pay for in tax dollars, in the place that they deserve to be, which is protecting us, not harassing and incarcerating us by the thousands. So it's just time for that to stop. And like I said, we talked a bit about that earlier today, about the cost of incarcerating somebody in Canada. So
you had some
stats. I had some stats. It all started because we got talking about, I have friends that are in jail, and my friend called me from this new system called Inmate Telephone Systems. It's from a company in Texas called the NCIC. And as of the information that I pulled up, as of August 4, 2011, they've been given $2.8 $5 million in funding from a Texas bank and trust to fund their future of independent phone services within inside our prison system now in Canada. Right. Obviously, they did well in the United States. They're like, okay, our things are in recession. Nobody's got that much money. Incarceration rate's still on. Yeah, we better look to where they're doing well. Well, Canada's got a lot of money, right?
Our government must be in negotiation with these groups, these particular ones, if they are in charge of the telephone system there. I mean, who determines who gets that contract? Is that not the government?
I would say so. They're probably potentially either inducting laws or changing laws that we're unaware of on some provincial or federal level to allow these companies to access. Because before it was
privatizing portions of the system.
That's right. Because in Saskatchewan right now we have SaskTel, which is a crown corporation.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be nonprofit. They make billions of dollars a year. And they before the way the system worked was, if you were in jail, if you got on the phone, you could be on the phone as long as you liked and conduct business how you wanted and make as many phone calls as you needed, as long as you could get on, right? Guys give each other turns and stuff. It's a system that worked,
right?
Maybe it wasn't the best, but now it's restricted, where if you're sentenced, you get worse. They charge you, so you have to get like a cost card, and then they record all the conversations, essentially taking away maybe your right to privacy, but the person on the other end, did nothing wrong. They're just contacting, say, their loved one. So you're calling Granny, and they're recording your conversation with Grandma. Grandma just feels bad because you're doing 6 months because you stole a car. Whatever the situation is, right? Like, that guy should be able to talk to his grandma without a cost to him, and definitely without a cost to us. But like, what happened to the existing system? Are they still using the money that we paid for that in our tax dollars? Are they still shelling that out to provide a service? Who has the access to these questions?
When they privatize things, that's what always gets me. How does that work? They're just sectioning, selling off parts of the government and allowing somebody is making a profit from that now. There's no reason for any company to do that unless they're making a profit. So why should they make a profit? If there's a profit to be made, why doesn't the government make that? And then it comes back, all of it comes back to us instead of going to these private corporations.
It was bad enough that SaskTel already profited from having the service there. Now they got this private company from the United States, and they're making triple the money because now they're charging the inmate and they're charging us, the taxpayer.
Yeah.
So they're making double the profit.
They
really know how to get their hands dirty.
After whoever can't. Prisoners don't have any voice. They can't really dispute anything. You can do anything you want to them because who the hell are they going to tell?
Professional creative artists, like, they're good at what they do, making money, and that's what it costs. Like I said, some of the stats for just incarcerating one male in a federal level is $90,000 a year. A federal female is $150,000 to $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that's province-wide. That's across the board. A provincial inmate costs just over $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
Now, those are staggering numbers. You times that by how many jails there are out there and do the math.
Yeah.
You want to wonder why they want to expand, because it's a good business.
Yeah.
And like I said, we didn't even touch on the cost of judges and lawyers and crown prosecutors and people who are involved in the system that don't really want the truth to be out there, which is that you're more powerful with just the fundamental freedoms of what it is to be born in this country than they will ever be with their minuscule laws and their rules and their incarceration techniques. As long as you feel free, you always will be. And that's the philosophy I try to live by.
Yeah, and if we keep educating people and letting people know about what's going on and they tell other people, and hopefully people will go and actually vote and take part in the system. In this country, things are pretty dire for the next 3 years. I know, obviously.
Yeah, we've set our fate because people didn't want to open their eyes until it was being slapped at them.
Yeah.
Like, somebody was just...
Well, now it is being slapped right in our faces. We have this spying scandal.
Yeah,
here.
What is that all about? Some guy in Parliament and somebody posted on a Twitter account with all his personal information. I heard a bit about it, so I don't know much.
Right. Well, what happened actually is that the government has proposed to force ISPs, Internet Service Providers, through this new bill or several bills that they're proposing. ISPs would have to give all information over to law enforcement at any time without a warrant often, and it's going back and forth whether or not it should be with or without a warrant. But either way, it allows them to have all of your web surfing habits, the ISP would have to monitor everything you do and actually allow law enforcement to monitor you in real time.
Right.
And your cell phones, any devices you have, any of that kind of thing, they'd be able to find out every single thing you do on every device you have. So,
you know,
the government's minister, Vic Taves, came out though, and he's the one putting this forward.
Pushing for it, right?
Right, and he now came out and said anybody who's not with them are with the child pornographers. Anybody
that's essentially generalizing the whole population that wants their privacy as child pornographers.
So that pissed a lot of people off.
What do you think?
And you know what happened? So then somebody set up a Twitter account and started releasing all of the details of Vic Taves' recent affair scandal, where he had an affair with a 17-year-old girl and I guess got her knocked up. And now he actually, I think, is living with her or something, but it was all kind of swept under the rug by Harper and his goons.
For sure.
And so they've been publishing all this on this Twitter account. It was WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, yeah, now today I was reading that the Ottawa Sun has done, or sorry, the Ottawa, I think it was, I don't know, one of the Ottawa papers, I can't remember which one, but has done an investigation, the Citizen, that's what it was, into it. And you know what they did? A crafty maneuver. They sent an email to the person responsible for the WikiLeaks Twitter page because nobody knew who it was.
Right.
And they had set up a website where that link would end up. And what they did was, this website was set up just for this, and they watched to see who would come through and click that link. And then they would have their ISP address, and they could track who it was that actually clicked through. And they tracked it, and it went right back to the House of Commons.
Right inside their own plan.
And so, of course, the conservatives had now come out and said, oh, it's the NDP doing it. But who knows who it was?
Well,
the liberals could have even been conservatives.
Maybe it's somebody who works on your staff who just thinks you're a piece of shit.
Another page. Yeah,
you know,
page stood up and said, stop Harper.
Yeah, there's some lonely secretary that knows the truth, right? Like, hears it every day but don't say nothing behind her desk. And she's a person too, right? Those people work for you. They care much about our country as we do.
Yeah.
So you better be careful what you say.
It's true. Well, and the thing is, the media just, again, sweeps all this stuff. Nobody was talking about this before some Twitter account had to come out and say it. If the media would do its job, then there wouldn't have to be a Twitter account at all. There wouldn't have to be somebody leaking it because people already knew most of the details.
They do their job, covering up their shit. Like, that's what they're good at, right? You know, like, I've seen it within my own city, my own province, right?
It's
just
funny.
sweep something under the rug. Make sure that nobody talks about it.
And the media, they throw things down the memory hole, so they try and later revise history and say it was sort of something different. Just at the beginning of the week here, I wrote a blog post because which paper was it now that came out? Oh, it was the Vancouver Province, actually.
Yeah.
And I called the Vancouver Province editors out on a column they wrote that was criticizing Harper, actually, criticizing this plan and criticizing the fact that Vic Taves had called everybody child pornographers or whatever if they don't agree with us. But they were saying the way they were writing it was basically that we didn't elect Harper to do this, but they endorsed Harper in the last election. And Harper had promised to pass these laws before the election, and that was one of his platform promises, that he would put in these crazy spying laws.
Yeah.
And the province editors endorsed him and said, because he will control public spending, the people of Canada should give him a majority government. And they wrote an article saying a Tory majority is necessary or something along those lines. And so I called them out on it, and they responded to me actually on Twitter. And they said, at first they said that, oh, I wish I had it in front of me. Well, actually, if you guys want to find out, you can just go on Twitter. But they just basically argued that, oh, well, you don't have to agree with everything a candidate says to endorse him. And I said, well, then I guess you think that spying on Canadians is worth it as long as he controls public spending. And then they argued that, well, you should vote for somebody you think will do a good job and then try and push them in the right direction. That was their answer. So, I don't know. I say thanks a lot to the province editors for responding, though. It was nice of them.
Oh, better than nothing.
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't ignore it.
You could just do Health Canada's tact and not show up.
Yeah.
Not respond at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? We don't know anything.
Yeah, which most of the time they do. I send letters to lots of media organizations, and they never send me anything ever. Yeah, if I'm angry enough. Yeah, and sometimes, hey, I advise everybody else out there to do it too. You can find the numbers of the newsrooms to a lot of these news organizations. So if you see something on CBC that you don't like, phone up a newsroom.
Yeah.
I do it. I phone them up and you talk to an editor, they'll answer it because It's not really always necessarily open to the public, those numbers, but they're on the internet. So yeah, tell them what you think. That's what I like to do. And those editors actually have some decision-making power down there, and they're, sometimes I think if you really give it to one of those editor guys and tell them what you think, they're like, it probably ruminates with them, and hopefully we'll have some decision, making power over them later. They're thinking about that.
Yeah,
later.
if anything down the road, maybe they'll think about what you said.
Right, exactly.
Even if it doesn't change anything, of a voice of something, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's lost is that people are, like I said earlier, just aren't willing to stand up and say, hey, I'm here. I'm not asking you to like what I'm doing, but accept it is fine. We can agree to disagree. I'm human. You want a hug after I'm done my joint. So it's just kind of crazy. I don't know. I hope to promote the best change and see the future of everything that we do, like everything you guys do, everything we do. The reason I get up, and move out the door tomorrow and make sure that this movement continues is just the future of hope. It's just legalization and move forward and just let people be free. Let them make their own decisions in life, and we'll prosper. We'll always continue to work forward. Like if I'm not doing the thing I'm doing right now, tomorrow I'm going to find something just as productive and continue to make progress in the world. That's what we're supposed to do. That's our drive as people, is to wake up and
Make
say,
this a better
that's
place.
right, we're going to move forward, we're going to be better to each other, we're going to be better to ourselves, and we're going to live happy.
Yeah.
I think cannabis is a big part of that. And everybody knows that, and everybody who uses it has accepted that. So let's just release it and let it go. Like it's fine to just let it go. And I think if everybody just says okay, and we're just going to back off it, we had a good day, and holy shit, we argued about it for a long time, but you guys are right. We're just struggling. So, and we'll just keep struggling. I'll be there, marches and rallies and
give people
hot
the
TV.
goods on the cup. Where do they find out more information about the
Prairie Cup's the second annual
Prairie Harvest Cup.
Harvest Cup. Best place to check is definitely my website, so skunkfunksmoker.ca. Go to the event page section, and we're going to be selling tickets hopefully through CETA on Green Harvest. We'll definitely get them on online somehow.
What about your Cannabis Culture?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I know you guys are always down to help out. And then we're going to be, we got some big things coming up because Treating Yourself is in May right away in Toronto. So I'm excited because there's a whole bunch of new people coming out. There's a big glass show. I saw Marco in Amsterdam in November.
Yeah.
And he said there's a big glass show, so things are awesome. And then, so the Prairie Cup tickets available at Skunk Funk across Saskatchewan, Skunk Funk in Regina at Watchtower Glass at 420 High Street, and in Regina at Tim's Shop head-to-head. Shop Novelties on Dudney Avenue in Regina. We're going to be selling tickets there online, greenharvest.ca, online ticket purchases. We invite anybody to come out. If you got entries, private growers or medicinal growers, we accept entries. We want as many strains as possible. Tim Zielinski is the med grower in Regina. He's promised me at least 8 to 12 different strains from Saskatchewan. So even if you don't have something to enter, come out and taste the Saskatchewan deliciousness.
How many do you want this year?
I want as many as people could possibly give me. Fuck it, we're just gonna smoke our faces off in Saskatchewan again, right? Like last year.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, last year the passes the.
If you did how many of the Cannabis Cup?
Yeah.
You had to go around to all different places and stuff.
Yeah.
How many was it total?
30
See,
in
that's
total.
a lot, yeah.
One shop, there was supposed to be 31, but one of them said we weren't supposed to make it into the book, and we did, and they don't know why. So there should have been 31, but there was only 30. So yeah, we could definitely do 30 in Saskatchewan. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Cool, man. So I guess that's the place to go. And what about the address of your store, Skunk Funk?
Skunk Funk is 2405 22nd Street West in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. A big green weed leaf lit up in the window that says "open as much as it possibly can." I got a bit of a life too.
Right.
So
Is there somebody looking after it while you're gone?
For sure. I got a really good group of volunteers. We got a really good group. I got really good staff, and they look out for me while I'm gone. Come down to visit and stuff. And I gotta make sure we get out here and get on these live casts to let people know where we are and what we're doing. Like
Thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it,
Much
brother.
appreciated for sharing with those.
Yeah.
Bam. Yeah, it was good. And we'll keep talking to you before the cup to let people know more about it.
Well, yeah, we'll do another interview. We'll
yeah.
probably pump something and treating yourself again. I'm down.
Right,
and then we'll get it up
exactly.
before.
Yeah, treating
Because we're
yourself.
going to be.
Yeah, come out to treating yourself and you can meet this guy,
Because
right?
April, May, because we're going to start promoting in April. So May's the treating yourself thing. That'd be a good time
We'll
to
be
get
there
it
as
up on the
well.
site, let people know. And then September.
I think that's where we
September
shot
long
the
weekend for the
last
Harvest
video,
Cup.
actually.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's why I said it seems suiting, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't miss Toronto for the world, and we got to say thanks to Marco for what he's doing out there and keeping it alive. Vape on the Lake, I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it, and I'm
I
excited.
had Marco on the show just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. That's awesome. Like I
Yeah.
said, Marco's a real inspiration to anybody who's involved in the movement because he's just doing great things out on the East Coast. And appreciate the hard work that everybody that's involved with him does. So it's good that there's something there that just replaced the loss, and BC is going to come back. Like I know Vancouver, and when Mark gets back here, I know it's going to be go time because jail's not going to make him jaded. He's just going to come out and he's going to say, "Okay, fuck you, 5 years, let's go. We got a lot to make up for."
Yeah.
So I'll be there with you, brother.
Nice, man. Cool.
Thanks
Awesome.
for having me on.
Hell yeah, thanks for coming on. We'll talk soon.
For sure.
And Neil, what about you? Did you want to say anything, or what are you doing these days?
Sure, man.
All right.
You good to stay, Jeff?
Yeah, for sure.
Still tripping.
Oh yeah.
Still tripping. Yeah, it's gonna be a great year. It's gonna be an awesome year. The whole bunch of events shaping up, and all sorts of good things happening.
Tell people about Still Tripping.
We've now wrapped filming. We wrapped all the interviews. The editors are hard at work. By 4:20, good chance. That'll be out for the preliminary viewings of it. So
nice.
That's really exciting.
That's not too far away, really.
Got my license.
Oh yeah, nice.
After years of pursuing doctors. Oh, I don't know, 5, 6 years since my original doctor retired. He just didn't want to deal with it, even though he'd learned the truth. And the next doctor, he didn't want to hear about it, but I tried to educate him. He gives me a confirmation diagnosis, but he won't sign the papers. So off to Manitoba, big props to the CMMC, Jade Ridge in Manitoba, doing some awesome work there for sure. Helped me out with filing the papers with Health Canada. Then 11 weeks plus, 11 and a half weeks plus, I called them the Tuesday of the week it arrived to ask what was going on and complain about how quickly I could have got OxyContin. Tell them that friends of mine are using this stuff. It seems to work for them, similar situations to mine. This is ridiculous, right? And then it arrived, and here it is.
There you go.
Dude, now, I'm supposed to carry this around with me everywhere I go, whenever I have cannabis for the full year. Anybody who knows me knows that's probably not going to work.
In a wallet.
Well, but it's big for a wallet, so right now, I'm not carrying this with me. This goes in a little vault somewhere where I know it is, because
You made a copy of it?
I made a copy of it, so that's what I did here. So, got this copy.
How's it look? See, that's the one you carry around.
This is one I carried around. I'm not, but
So maybe that plastic bag was your wallet.
Till it's big. No, actual wallet. It's not too bad. Not big enough really for that. And so I made a copy of it here, and so I got that there. Should somebody need to look at it, but more, I went even smaller yet, right? So I got this one here. This one.
You should get that one laminated.
This one's going to be laminated. I just did all this. I just got this. In fact, they sent it to me on like the 10th of February, and it says on the license it was issued on the 14th of February.
Right.
So there it is. But no, it's not. I got to wait another 4 days before I actually leave. So this will be plasticized.
Well, happy Valentine on that.
The real important thing, of course, is the number.
Of course.
And there's the phone number. Take your phone to find out if the number is right. So you get the name, the number, the ID, you're good to go, except I still can't try cannabis. Legal, but where would I get it? All right? It's illegal for you to give me any. It's illegal for me to go and buy it anywhere. So they sent me order forms. Now I just got to scratch up the dough, send off for an order, then I can try it.
Prairie Plant Systems.
Prairie Plant Systems.
Prairie Plant.
Now I'm going to give them a shot because it's the legal thing to do, right? But I've already seen stuff that my friends have gotten, and if the Prairie Plant Systems doesn't size up to that, well, I'll be complaining about that.
Right. And I wonder what it's going to look like. I think I know because I've seen it before, and it looks brown and disgusting.
I don't know at all. Like I say, I know what I've seen.
You haven't smoked cannabis before because...
Of course not. I'm not able to do that. But I've seen it all over the place, right?
No, that's not cannabis. Those are fake buds.
Okay, but it's a well done fake bud. It looks really, really
Here,
close.
let's show the camera this one. Definitely not fake buds.
That's prop weed, eh? I've been smoking that. That must be
Just
prop
like
weed.
all the ads in High Times, the ones they used to have.
I mean, that's not
Legal buds are.
I mean, that could be real weed.
No, this is real weed.
Oh no, because I've been smoking that because I thought it was prop weed. All through the
Neil,
tripping movie, I've been smoking that.
I
stuff.
wondered why he smelled like a skunk.
Well,
like
it's
Otto's
just good
jacket.
prop weed is what I was told. Oh man.
It was the same stuff they used in Pineapple Express.
So what a ludicrous system, eh? And today Health Canada phones me back. Nice young lady says she was returning my call because I'd called to inquire about whether I got my license. So I told her, yes, I have got my license now, thank you very much. And while you're on the phone, could I make a comment about the whole program? And she said, sure, she was nice. So I told her I was outraged. It exasperated me just at the end of my wire with the whole thing because it took me years. And then it took them 11 weeks. And now I got to wait till I can order some. And I could have had OxyContin in an hour from that original doctor's visit, you know. More than willing to give me all kinds of stuff because I suffer from some pain in my life. And, you know, they'll give me that stuff. People are dying from that stuff.
They need a dispensary in every corner. Like
This is the worst system I've ever seen in my life. And you know, there's a good guy named Randy Kane from the Langley Medical Marijuana Dispensary.
That's right.
They were busted.
Yeah.
For 3 months, they didn't lay any charges. Now they've charged him. And I went to see his court appearance the other day. And, you know, Randy's a good man. He's been a good man in the community for a long, long time. He's a business owner.
We've had him on the show.
Yeah, so, you know, Randy's a good guy. He went and pled his case very well, you know, without accompaniment from a lawyer. And his case was basically two things. One, he doesn't understand the law. He doesn't understand why he would be there when he's tried to do everything the right way. When he was completely transparent, had visits with the police and city council. He's used the BC Compassion Club Society guidelines for what he was doing there. And he was doing what he was doing because he was approached by people in the community that were seriously ill that asked him to help. And he's just did what any person with a conscience would have to do, because that's where he found himself, a person with conscience, and what was he to do? So he helped them. And then he tried to do it completely above board, completely by the guidelines set out, and here he is in court. So he was pleading, Your Honor, why am I here? I don't understand this at all. And secondly, could we please expedite this process? Because now there's people that are chronically ill, end of life, you know, relying on cannabis as medicine. He was their supply source. He wants to get back in business, can't do anything until, so could there be some sort of expedited preliminary hearing? No, the judge says no. And then there's the prosecutor who's saying, well, we're going to throw his ass in jail. We think he should get a lawyer, Your Honor. And the judge says it's going to be over a year before we even have a preliminary hearing. And during that hearing, you can't bring any evidence, Mr. Kane. This is about the Crown bringing evidence. So no, there'll be no chance to expedite it or have it thrown out during that process. You're looking at 2 years. So normally I'm very quiet in the courtroom, and I try not to say anything because you don't want to bring any disrespect to the person.
I don't know. I've been in the courtroom with you before, and you weren't
Cigarettes.
that quiet. You weren't that quiet.
Cigarettes!
It's always disrupting proceedings.
I try to know. It's hard as an activist.
The lawyers are
like, you know. No, really, you try not to say much. You don't want to bring any disrespect to the client. But in this case, I felt I had to say something.
Sometimes it goes, maybe give him a little poke, doesn't hurt, you know?
Partly because it was a bit more informal with Randy representing himself.
Right.
And I'd heard, this was just outrageous, what I just heard go down there. So I decided to find the right spot and try to say something. So I stood up and I went to the center aisle, and at the same time the sheriff gets up and comes right to me and goes, come with me out the door. I couldn't have known I was going to say something. He said to me, I don't have very much opportunity to speak to you people as you come through, and this might be my only chance, and you're with this group, so I want to tell you, you can go to UBC and get a legal student here from the law. And I went, well, thank you very much for that. That's awesome of him to do, right? But I said, I want to get back in.
What was he saying?
He was giving me advice for Randy about how to get some legal advice through the UBC Law Society.
Randy was representing himself.
Because Randy was representing himself.
Right,
so
he was saying you should represent yourself.
Yeah, you know, awesome gesture by a human being trying to do the right thing. And I said, thank you very much for that, but I want to get back in there. I want to make a statement. He says, oh, you probably won't be able to do that. I said, well, I'll see. And just as I walked through the door, now looking much more official, I've been taken out of the courtroom, and now I'm coming back into the courtroom with the sheriff there.
Yeah.
And just at that moment, the judge was wrapping up and thanking Mr. Kane for being there and wishing him luck. And I said, I'd like to make a statement, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And he said, no, you may not. And I said, well, my statement isn't even to you, sir. It's actually to this gentleman over here. I said, I'd like to say on behalf of a lot of other good Canadians, we are outraged that you would spend and waste our tax dollars to try to cage a community hero. And until you can produce a victim in these proceedings, this is the crime. And nobody arrested me, nobody said nothing, we just got up and walked out. So I think it was the right thing to do.
Wow.
And I'm not sure it's the right thing to always sit quietly through these proceedings. You know?
I actually agree with you, Neil. I think if you want to make a statement like that, was a great statement that he made. So I don't think sticking it to those guys. They'll go home and think about that maybe a little bit, you know.
They're there to serve the public, aren't they? And I think we're the public, and it's our money that they're on.
Back directly is the way to do it. And sometimes it's not pretty. It doesn't go along with the formalities of things like the justice system, but it is the right thing to do.
I'm not encouraging crazy antics in the courtroom.
No.
But you know, a well thought out statement at the right time, you know, might be the thing to do. Maybe we could stand in a courtroom and say something at the right time.
People stand up in Parliament, people stand up in other proceedings, and they shout their messages, and it might seem uncouth or something, but it makes a difference and it makes a statement. And
these court proceedings are ridiculous, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
They're
no,
ridiculous.
They totally are. After watching Chris Bennett's last court case, I totally think the court system is backwards, ridiculous.
Cigarettes!
That judge, you were there for that too.
I had to say that.
Jesus,
yeah.
That judge was just, I don't know.
And now we've got the bakery trial going on in Victoria.
Yeah, no.
And the bakery trial now going on in Victoria there.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were to lose that, and now it becomes commonplace, and these bakeries get raided, and compassion funds get raided, and how ridiculous is that going to be? I sat through the Decline trial. I know how ridiculous that was, as they brought in trays of brownies and cookies and some really nice looking cupcakes. And you know, and what's going on with these products that these people are consuming? Well, they're getting happy. They seem to be euphoric, Your Honor. Right. You know, oh, we can't have any of that going on, can we? Jail. In fact, I can't even. I'm sorry, my hands are tied. I have mandatory minimum sentence. You've been found with baked goods. You're going to jail for 18 months because we're going to rehabilitate you there. You'll be a much better human being. I know it's going to cost society a lot, but hell, better people in the end are worth it, aren't they? So, not. You know, this is the year. I feel this is the year. I think the tipping point has far been reached, and I think that if we just give it
where
the
is the first success going to be? Why is this the year?
Well, I think because we have 4 AGs that came out right after 4 mayors came out, right after a bunch of doctors came out, right after a bunch of policemen have come out. And I think the body of evidence is just getting insurmountable. That the thing the 4 AGs said, and these are ex-top cops, these are judiciary people who choose their language very carefully. And they say the case against prohibition is airtight.
Right.
And I know it is, and you know it is. That they're causing far more harm to society, to the human rights of individuals.
But the federal government is so opposed to these kinds of ideas. How does a provincial government or, you know, these attorney generals make any real difference? Attorneys general.
You know, it looks like Harper gets his way for a few years because he's got his majority and he's going to do some things. But we'll see what the public opinion is after that. In the meantime, I think that when statements come out from top cops like attorney generals, and they say that these laws are not right, that they're causing all these problems, and all the things that they said about it, then I think that takes away the power from the police to actually go forward with their prosecutions and with people. And I think that when you tie the hands of judges and you tie the hands of policemen so that they're just going to give you their form of the proceedings, which is the piece of paper, and from there you're getting a mandatory minimum sentence somewhere. That's going to start to change at the grassroots level, and we're going to get more policemen, and we're going to get more judges, and we're going to get more teachers, and we're going to get more healthcare people, and more people are going to be against this. And Harper be damned if he wants to do this. I think it's the last gasp of a dying breed. I think that 2012 is the year that the world of prohibition comes to an end and enlightenment happens, and the cannabis prohibition ending leads the way to a more free society, a more sane society, and this is the beginning of a much greater future. This is the end of a really dark chapter in human history coming right up. And I want to just refer back to the movie, if I may. StillTrippinMovie.com is the name of the website. Please go there, have a look at the stuff we've put up online. There's trailers. Jeff is one of our stars in the trailers.
Trans-Canada Highway.
Yes.
That's right. Coast to coast, we grow the best.
Yeah, we're going to tell the story. We're going to let activists to help us tell the story. We're going to talk about why cannabis is good, why prohibition is bad, why the government's job is to protect our rights and freedoms and our ability to use nature any way we want unless we're hurting somebody else. We're going to tell you why people, good people like yourself, like Jess, like so many other good Canadians are getting off their couches and getting involved in the whole thing to try to end the prohibition of cannabis and get our rights back. And who's involved and what's going on? Well, I think we all know, but I'll leave that for the movie to tell. But there's a huge conspiracy of corruption going on here.
And you get to see beautiful video of my awesome medicinal grow operation.
I wasn't sure what you were talking about there for a second.
Oh, not me.
Yeah, super props to Saskatchewan. They're going to play a big role in this, as they should, the farmers of Canada. And,
for sure.
And they're leading the way in many respects as well. So thanks, Jeremiah. Appreciate your time.
For sure.
Still tripping. StillTrippinMovie.com. Out by 420. And 420 is coming.
That's right.
You know, let's get out and smoke out the cities, wherever you are.
Right.
Party on.
We'll talk again soon.
Free the weed, free Mark.
Back on, talk about the movie when it hits.
I'll take this with me. See, this is the thing. And it's not, I'm going to lose this.
You better keep that, you better put that at home, and then you're safe. You have your copies now.
Yeah, I got the copies. I'm going to write it on my hand. I have it tattooed on my chest or something. Go, hey, officer, this is my number here.
That's a good idea.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Well,
show a little chest. Want to come back out here, man?
Yeah, why not?
And I guess we just want to say goodbye. Thanks to everybody who came on today. It was awesome. Wow, it was a long one today.
It was a spectacular time. Thanks again for having me out, brother.
It was fantastic.
I love it down here.
For sure.
So I'm back down for Cannabis Day. So
how long are you in town for now?
I'm heading back home here on Sunday. So my last couple of days in town.
Nice.
And then we're gonna do it up in style, smoke down, BC style. And yeah, back home, back to the grind, and then of course, like I said, Toronto in May, and then back down here for Cannabis Day, July. My 3rd year out here for Cannabis Day. I love it. People always greet me with open arms and fatties. So I appreciate and send the best out to the pot community. I appreciate everybody that stood behind me to help me get to where I am right now.
Hey man, thanks for all the hard work you do.
For sure, we're not going to stop.
On the Prairies now. I guess tell people, you give the website address one more time.
One more time, skunkfunksmoker.ca. You got to be a Skunk Funk smoker to hang out at Skunk Funk. So skunkfunksmoker.ca. And if you need to reach me personally, skunkfunksmoker@gmail.com is my personal email. So
what's the name of the cup?
The cup is the long weekend, September long this year. I don't know what the exact dates are, but it's the first weekend in September, I believe, is the long weekend.
You'll finalize the dates sometimes.
Yeah, and like I said, tickets are going to be available. We're advertising for the cup in April. Tickets are going to be available as early as May. It's not happening until September, so people got lots of time to plan trips down. There'll be some options if you check online. There'll be options for booking a hotel that's close to the event and stuff. So,
perfect.
And we're going to do it up in true style. There's live entertainment, a vapor lounge, samples, guest speakers, medical grow pictures, question and answer periods, experts on everything in medicinal marijuana. Hopefully this year a doctor who just wants to sit there and sign paperwork. I'll pay you in joints. Myself.
Any doctors out there?
That's right.
There's doctors and millionaires out there.
That's right. David's calling for millionaires. I just want one doctor. Okay, just help a brother out. So otherwise, everybody keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting like we're gonna fight. Keep this going. Keep everything we're doing going, and we will make a difference. Like this will finally come to an end. I believe that in my heart. So I wouldn't get up every day if I didn't, and keep going forward with it. So.
Cool, man. We'll have you back on the show sometime.
I can't wait. Maybe.
And you know what? We should get you doing some sort of stuff from the Prairies. We should get corresponding from the Prairies.
I wanted to talk to you about that.
What's going on there?
I like that we're on the same page as always. So I feel the same way, and we'll just start.
That would be very cool.
Putting the community of across Canada, people broadcasting from their fucking basements.
Hell yeah!
Whatever it takes to make
or
this
here in our
movement.
penthouse studio.
If you're near the pop walk, come down. I'm signing autographs for the next hour at the Vapor Lounge.
That's right.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
All right,
take care, you guys.
Thanks a lot, man. It was excellent. Yeah, and everybody out there, thanks for watching again. I guess I don't want to have to list off everybody who was on the show, but thanks to everybody who came on the show today. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.